You ever notice how the quietest places hide the wildest fights? Let me tell you, I thought running into burning buildings was as tough as it gets. Turns out, surviving a Texas suburb with the wrong neighbor is a whole different kind of smoke. You'd think I was making this up, but yeah, that happened. When we finally got the keys to our dream place out on the edge of Austin, me, my wife Sarah, and our 2 kids, I felt like every ache and bruise from 2 decades of firefighting finally paid off. No alarms, no clipped radio calls, just a little brick house surrounded by birdsong, a yard big enough for a grill that could feed the block, and best of all, no HOA listed on the deed. Just freedom. Or so I thought. We were all in, day 1. Boxes everywhere, friends from the fire station hauling furniture, my kids zipping around like they'd just been freed from prison. Even hired a couple of guys to put up a swing set under that old oak tree in the yard. The sun was out, coffee in hand, and for once I wasn't responding to a call. I was making a home. That's when the trouble rolled up. Sleek silver car at the curb, HOA badge in the window like it was the FBI. And out she stepped, mid-50s, stone-faced, with a pantsuit so sharp it could cut you. Clipboard, tablet, you know the type. She didn't wave, didn't smile, just started taking photos. My kids, my moving trucks, even my dog's water bowl. Snap, 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 like she was gathering evidence for a federal case. I wiped my hands, tried to be neighborly. Morning. Can I help you? She didn't lower the tablet. Just hit me with, this activity must cease immediately. Said we were violating HOA bylaws. Said no one had approved this move-in. And for a second, I thought I was on some hidden camera show. I told her, look, this isn't Oak Ridge Meadows. I bought this house. It's not subject to any HOA. Here's the deed, the survey, the county map. She didn't even blink. All properties adjacent to Oak Ridge Meadows are subject to community standards. I let out a laugh. Adjacent isn't inside, ma'am. But she just whipped out her phone and called the cops on us for moving into our own house. By then, Sarah was out on the porch, dish towel on her shoulder, shooting me that look. Like, what fresh hell did you just bring home? My friends were watching from the garage, enjoying the show. The HOA president, she never gave me her name, started ordering my swing set guys to stop work. No approved play structures. I told them to keep working. This was our yard, after all. But inside, that old firefighting adrenaline started to simmer. This wasn't a house fire I could put out with water. Sure enough, 15 minutes later, here comes a patrol car. Slow, cautious, like even the cop couldn't believe the call she'd gotten. Officer steps out, brown hair under her cap. Calm as you please, name tag says Blakely. The HOA president, she's already storming over, flinging accusations, illegal occupancy, kids running wild, swing set construction, you name it. Officer Blakely turns to me, asks for ID and paperwork. I handed her everything. Deed, survey, the whole shebang. She reads through it, page by page, then turns to the HOA lady. Ma'am, do you have any legal document showing this house is under your jurisdiction? The HOA president, Karen, as I'd later learn, starts rambling about an annexation plan from 20 years ago and the moral oversight of the HOA. Officer Blakely just stares, then says, moral claims aren't law. This property is not within your HOA. Karen sputtered, accused her of siding with us. Blakely didn't budge, told her to back off, or she'd be the one facing a complaint for harassment. Karen left in a huff, muttering about lawyers, but I caught her car parked down the street for an hour, just idling, watching us unload. Let me back up a sec. This is when I realized we weren't dealing with a one-time nuisance. 4 days later, certified letter arrives. Summons from the county commission, accusing us of unauthorized occupancy. I call my friend Leslie, a land use attorney who's chewed up and spit out people like Karen for fun. Bring every document you've got, she says, and keep recording. At the hearing, Karen showed up flanked by 2 people, armed with old maps and a list of violations. She tried to turn our move-in into a federal case. Unauthorized swing set, unsightly paint colors, violating the spirit of the community. Leslie shut it all down. The commission sided with us. The judge even fined Karen $1,000 for wasting everyone's time. I walked out feeling like I'd put out a fire with a garden hose. But you know how fires smolder, right? The next week, the trash wasn't picked up, just our house. Then a tow truck showed up to take Sarah's SUV, claiming it was abandoned on community access, our own driveway. The guy backed off quick when I started snapping photos, but the message was clear. This was war by paperwork. And then, the drone. I kid you not, a little quadcopter started buzzing over our backyard, lights blinking, circling our kids like it was scoping out a SWAT raid. Had a sticker on the side, Oak Ridge HOA Safety Unit 3. I filed a complaint with the FAA and the County Drone Oversight Board. A week later, both agencies sent official warnings to the HOA for illegal surveillance. Sarah just shook her head. They're really trying everything, huh? Not trying, escalating. We started building a case. Every letter, every bogus complaint, every drone flight, I documented it all. Sent it to Leslie, who filed a cease and desist, then went full offense. Harassment, invasion of privacy, administrative abuse. But it just kept coming. City code compliance guys knocking, accusing us of unpermitted structures, measuring setbacks with a tape like it was a crime scene. Every complaint weaponized. Leslie called it the complaint cascade, death by 1,000 reports. But here's the twist. The deeper we dug, the more we found on Karen. Turns out, her own palatial house had an illegal sunroom. No permits, no inspection, nothing. We got the documents from city archives, plus a public meeting tape where Karen lied about her own compliance. With Leslie's help, we filed a countersuit, harassment, false reporting, abuse of process, you name it. The court accepted the case, set a hearing for 3 weeks out. The day of the preliminary hearing, the courthouse was buzzing. Neighbors came to watch. Karen arrived with a hotshot lawyer, but the judge, former Army JAG, didn't tolerate theatrics. Leslie laid out everything. Drone footage, complaint records, city permits. Karen's lawyer tried to spin it, but when Karen herself started arguing intent and community spirit, the judge cut her off hard. Your understanding is not law. Either this property is under your HOA's jurisdiction or it's not. Leslie produced the deed, boundary map, even a letter from the HOA records confirming we weren't members. The judge leaned back, let out a laugh, and hit Karen with a restraining order, moved the case to full trial, and referred her false police report to the county prosecutor. I could barely believe it. Sarah whispered, "Holy hell." Yeah, that happened. By the time the trial rolled around, Karen's power was leaking away faster than an old garden hose. 3 HOA board members quit. One new guy brought banana bread to our door, thanked us for ringing the bell. But Karen wasn't done. She had our car towed again, this time in the middle of the night, after planting something under the tire and snapping a photo for evidence. I caught her on camera at 3 a.m., clipboard, gloves, the whole spy routine. Leslie called it black and white sabotage. That was the final nail. The trial was a circus, evidence, witnesses, even the FAA. The judge read out every count, harassment, surveillance, abuse of law, and then looked Karen dead in the eye. Hit her with 6 months probation, mandatory civil rights classes, restraining order, and kicked her off the HOA board. Ordered the HOA and Karen to pay us $85,000 in damages. When it was over, Karen looked like she'd been hit by a train. Within a week, her house was up for sale. The HOA held new elections. Even the neighbors started waving again. You want the punchline? The drone, the one she used to stalk my kids, now hangs in my garage, trophy style. I painted a new sign for the yard, private property, not part of HOA. Smile for the cameras. Every morning, I sip my coffee on the porch, watch my kids play, and know damn well whose land this is. But I gotta ask, where do you draw the line? At what point does protecting the community cross into full-blown bullying? Would you have fought back or just moved on? Drop your thoughts below, because this debate is far from over. And I know I'm not the only one with a story like this.